भगवते वासुदेवाय। अतः श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता चतुर्थोऽध्यायः। ज्ञानयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच निराशीर्यतचित्तात्मा त्यक्तसर्वपरिग्रहः शरीरं केवलं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्. Okay, so I'll break it apart, and then the third time we do it, we'll do it together, okay? निराशीर्यतचित्तात्मा त्यक्तसर्वपरिग्रहः शरीरं केवलं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्. निराशीर्यतचित्तात्मा त्यक्तसर्वपरिग्रहः शरीरं केवलं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
Okay, so let's first read what the meaning here says. It says, one who is free from desires, whose mind is well controlled, and who is without any sense of ownership, incurs no sin from works, as his actions are merely physical. So, first of all, let's break down the few words, okay? So it says nirashi, right? If you look here in the breakdown, that's the first word, right? Nirashi, which means without desires, or like without too much expectations, okay? Like, I want this, I want that, right? Like, our minds, they build up like a series of desires all the time. Like, however, with that attitude, like, I want this, I want that attitude removed, the mind is more steady, right? So, and then the next word we should look at is yata chitatma. So, which means with mind controlled, or like the one who has a very well disciplined mind, right? And then, if we break it further, this is tyakta sarva parigraha, meaning with the idea of possessing this and that gone from the mind. So, like here it says with like no sense of ownership, right, over possessions. Like a simpler way to say that would be with the idea of like possessing this and that, like it's gone from your mind. So, like in today's age, day and time, there's like too much of this idea of possession. Like, I have this, I have that, right? And that is something we should not have, according to Sri Krishna. It's like without any sense of ownership over possessions. And so we're like tyakta sarva parigrahas, like having given up the attitude, I must have this, I must have that. So it's not only literally like giving things up, right? Like, I give this object up, this up, but also the sense of possessing it. Like, I have this, like, you have to give that up too. Like the pride that comes along with the sense of possessing something. And sariram kevalam karma like kurvan. So if you put that together, it says even though he or she does work with the body, na apnoti kilbisham, he or she does not incur any sin. Like they don't gather any sins. Does that make sense? Okay. Are you sure? This chapter is a little hard to digest. Trust me. You like have to be on top of it. Like honestly, you could spend like hours talking about a single verse, but we're just going to like go through the basic meaning here. So we good to move on to the next one? Okay. Okay, verse 22. Yadricha labhasantushto dvandhatito vimachara samasiddhavas samasiddha siddho, sorry, samasiddhavasiddho cha kritva pina nipatyate. So sometimes, you know how I paused at the second line? If you like, if it's hard to see which verses go together, the tune really helps, because then you know how to break up the parts of the verses. Okay, so let's do it from five. It says, Yadricha labha samtushto dvandatito vimachara समासिद्धावसिद्धौ च कृत्वापि न निबध्यते यदृच्छलभसन्तुष्टो द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरा समासिद्धावसिद्धौ च कृत्वापि न निबध्यते. Okay.
Okay, so for this verse, the first word, yadrichala bhasamtusha. Yadricha labhasamtusha. That means satisfied with whatever comes without calculation. Dvandatita, rising above the contrasting conditions of life. Vimatshara, free from competitive spirit. Sama means alike. Siddho asiddho, meaning in success and in failure. Kritvapi, though acting, na nibadhyate, is not bound. So what this verse is saying is that satisfied with whatever comes without calculations, rising above the contrasting conditions of life without any competitive spirit, and alike in success and failure, a man, though working, incurs no sin. So here, Sri Krishna kind of like brings in what we've been kind of talking about in the past few chapters, that to work without expecting anything from your actions, or not to attach yourself to the fruits of your actions, and to actually be satisfied with the work that you're doing without thinking of the outcome. So when you're satisfied without thinking of the end kind of result, and you rise above the contrasting conditions, so like heat and cold, pleasure and pain. We talked about the diksha as like kind of like endurance through these different types of opposites. And when you have that, the individual who's working, even though they are working, they don't incur any sin because they're not attaching to whatever results they are expecting or that they want. Okay? I think we brought up the example too, like when you take a test and you kind of expect like to get 100 and then you get a lot less than 100, because that's constantly going into your head that, oh, like you're kind of expecting this kind of goal or this outcome to happen, and like that's when you get disappointed. But
Yes, another way I was thinking about this verse was like the part that she just talked about, yadrichala samtushta, right? Another way you could kind of translate this, it like there's in other books, it's like being personally like satisfied with whatever comes by chance, like without effort, right? Like you don't do much, but like it just comes to you. Like like that idea is like, oh, whatever comes is like it happens, right? But like that shouldn't be your sign to be like, hold up, I'm not gonna do any work. I'm just gonna be satisfied with whatever comes my way. Like it's not for like our age, like people who are like in school, right? Like like teenagers or like college students. It's not much for us because we do have to put in the effort. We do still have to do work, right? But these are for more like spiritually advanced people who are like at that stage, and they have like all these qualities, and they can finally say, oh, I'm satisfied with whatever comes. Like monks, right? They can't really be sitting there calculating or like being like, I want this, I want that, right? But rather they're like, oh, I'm satisfied with whatever comes my way. Like this idea of didiksha, or like Sita Bergner and all that. Yes, but you see there's so much overlap with like previous verses, previous chapters. You can like once you start kind of like reading the whole Gita together as a whole, it all like kinds of adds it all kind of adds up. Okay, next verse it is.
Okay. गता सङ्गस्य मुक्तस्य ज्ञानवस्थितचेतसः यज्ञाय चारता कर्म समाग्रं प्रविलीयते गता सङ्गस्य मुक्तस्य ज्ञानवस्थितचेतसः यज्ञाय चारत कर्म समाग्रं प्रविलीयते गतासङ्गस्य मुक्तस्य ज्ञानवस्थितचेतसः यज्ञाय चारथ कर्म समाग्रं प्रविलीयते.
Okay, so it's kind of crazy that we're like just reading through these verses. Kind of complicated stuff. But like let's look here. It says, in the case of one who is without attachments and the sense of agency and whose mind is fully established in the knowledge of God, his actions being done in dedication to the Lord melt away their very tendencies. So kind of a packed verse, but we can bring it up. So gata sangasya. So meaning whose sangha? Sangha means attachment, right? Is gata, meaning gone. So do you see like the play of word here? Like gata sangasya. So sangha means attachment and gata means gone. So if you understand those two words individually, you can put it together and mean that, which means without attachment or whose attachment is gone, right? Has vanished. So therefore, muktasya, meaning he or she is free. So it is freedom here and now in the middle of work, right? You have to understand that like this is in the middle of work, not like, oh, I've stopped my actions, right? So and then who's um how do I say this? You can yeah, who's like manas or like chetas or buddhi, right, which is better known, is established in like spiritual jnana. And then um so whatever karma is done, right, here, it's saying it's done in the spirit of yajna, meaning in a spirit of sacrifice. Or if you want to say like in spirit of dedication. Like here it says being done in the dedication to the Lord. So you're doing this work as a yajna. And um uh so the next part we could look at is samagram praviliyate. So it's like becomes completely dissolved, right? So it is not that one should achieve the whole of it or nothing of it, right? But it's more so that one should try to get even a bit of it. Praviliyate is like become dissolved. Samagram is like completely. So there's no karma at all, right? And yet that person is doing karma all the time. And this so if you just put it all together, and this was like parts that I found important from the verse. But in all together, it's saying that just like in the case of one who is without attachment in the sense of possession or agency, right? And whose mind is fully established in the knowledge of God, right? So these are the three like criteria so far. Then his actions being done as yajna or in dedication of the Lord melt away their very tendencies. Does that kind of make sense? You like honestly, it we're just going to have to sit down ourselves and kind of dissect through these first to kind of get the essence of it. But yes, and that's kind of what I took away from this verse. But Verse 24, the next one is very well known. And many of you may know it because you chanted before you take food. Um, so we'll get started. Um, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahmakarma Samadhina Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam ब्रह्मैवातेन गन्तव्यम् ब्रह्मकर्मा समाधिना ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महवि ब्रह्माग्नो ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैवातेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्मकर्मा समाधिना.
Okay, so in this verse, Arpanam is offering, Brahma is Brahman. So Brahmarpanam, offering is Brahman. Havi, oblations, Brahman is Brahman. So oblations is Brahman. Brahmagno, in the fire that is Brahman. Brahmana, by the sacrificer who is Brahman. Hutam, sacrificial rite performed. Brahma is Brahman. Brahma karma samadhina, by one who has this absorption in work as Brahman. Tena, by him, Gantavyam should be reached to Brahman alone. So we see the word Brahman a lot in this verse. So here Sri Krishna says, to one of the above description, the ladle with which the offering is made, and the oblations are Brahman, and the sacrificial rite, which is Brahman, is performed by the sacrificer who is Brahman, in the fire, which too is Brahman. He who is thus absorbed in work as Brahman attains to Brahman alone. Okay, so there's a lot happening in this verse. So here it's saying when offerings are made, the kind of offering that is made, how it's made, is usually by, doing the yagnas, like based on like sacrificial tradition. So that they're saying that that is an example of Brahman, and then what is being worshipped is Brahman, and then the sacrificial rite, or the individual who's doing the sacrifice, the sacrificer, is also Brahman. The fire that the sacrifice is being done in is also Brahman. And Sri Krishna kind of like brings everything together by saying that whoever does their work with Brahman in mind or with God in mind attains to Brahman alone. Okay? There's a lot happening in this verse. Do you guys understand? Have any questions? No? Okay. So then we can move on to the next verse then. Verse 25. Daivameva pare yagnam yogina paryupasate brahmagno pare yagnam yagnenaiva pajuvate. Daivameva pare yagnam yogina paryupasate brahmagno pare yagnam yagnenaiva pajuvate. Daivameva pare yagnam yogina paryupasate brahmagno pare yagnam yagnenaiva pajuvate. So the last word, how you would say, because there's like spaces in the middle and then apostrophes, but that last word technically you say it together. So it'd be yagne naiva Pajuvati. Like you would combine all of them together. So you'd imagine that like there's no apostrophes, no spaces in the middle, and that last word you would say together.
Okay. So it says some yogis perform sacrifices, especially wanting to uh, per, propitiate the deities, and still others offer sacrifice, meaning the Atman itself, as an oblation, like a yagna in the fire of Brahma. So, first of all, now, do you remember us discussing the different types of yagnas in back in chapter 3? Like around, it's a long time ago. Like if we can kind of reference verse 9 from chapter 3, I believe. But here again, we pick it up but in a different way. So, first of all, it says some yogis perform sacrifice to the gods, the devas, meaning the bright ones, or you could say the smart ones. And others offer the self as sacrifice, right? By the self in the fire of Brahman as self of all. Now, this is like you could think of it like a very highly spiritual sacrifice, of course, right? Um, it's you could think about it like burning like your ego in the fire of knowledge, like like when we're talking about offering the atman, and so that ego is burned away, and now when the ego is burned away, only Brahman remains, and that is another type of sacrifice. So one is externally oriented, meaning one where you perform sacrifices for the deities, and the other one is very spiritual and inward. So um and this is a very like highly spiritually advanced people, and this results in like high character, um or like high spiritual awareness and so on. And this is continued in the next verse. Okay, this is a lot of like long words, but we should be fine. It says this Srotradinindriyaninya samya samyam agnishu juvati saptadin vishayaninya indriyagnishu juvati Srotradinindriyaninya samyam agnishu juvati Sabdadin Vishayaninya Indriyagnishu Juvati Srotradin Indriyaninya Samyamagnishu Juvati Sabdadin Vishayaninya Indriyagnishu Juvati.
Okay, so in this verse, Srutradini, hearing, and other Indrayani, organs of knowledge, Samyagnishu, in the fire of restraint, Juvati, offer a sacrifice. Anye, some, Shabdadin, sound, and other Vishayan, sense objects, Indriyagnishu, in the fire of senses, Juvati, offer a sacrifice. So in this verse, Sri Krishna is talking about how there are like the different sense organs that we have, as well as organs of knowledge. A lot of people who do sacrifice, they sacrifice those kinds of aspects of their life during those yagnas. So some offer their organs of knowledge, like hearing, as a sacrifice in the fire of restraint, while others take in all their sense perceptions as oblations made in the fire of their respective senses. So it's the senses that they choose to sacrifice in this fire of sacrifice or knowledge, as you could say, of restraint. So understanding how to control that, but first sacrificing those kinds of sense objects and just the organs, the sense organs, so you can learn how to restrain them and like pull them back. We talked about the different like karmendriyas and the gyanendriyas, right? So kind of like controlling those by first sacrificing them and then starting to control them in the process. Okay? Um, I guess we can move on then to 27. Do you guys have any questions? You guys seem very quiet. Like, do you guys
Honestly, it's
understand?
really hard to tell if you guys are understanding anything. Because like Sharina is just talking like nonstop, and it's just like we have no idea if this is being of any help right now.
Well, I hope it is, because you guys are not saying anything. Okay, we'll move on then. Um, okay. सर्वेन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणाकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयम्य योगज्ञो जुवति ज्ञानदीपते सर्वानीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणाकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयम्य योगज्ञो जुवति ज्ञानदीपिते सर्वानीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणाकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयम्य योगज्ञो जुवति ज्ञानदीपिते.
Okay. Um, let's see. Verse 27. So verse 27 here says, Other offer all the function of their senses and vital energy as sacrificial offerings in the fire of self-restraint kindled by knowledge. So in this verse, Sri Krishna is saying like some people again offer all their actions of the sense organs and functions of the vital energy, namely, what do you call it? The prana, right? And into the fire of self control as a sacrifice. So, what's the fire? It's self control. And you're offering what? The prana. And now we are asked to discipline the whole internal system thoroughly, right? Um, that's what's being hinted at here. But how do we do that? So the process would be, first of all, we would first light the fire of self control, right? And then we would put all of them into that. So, like all of the internal systems into the fire. And that is the inner sacrifice. So, you have to understand that whatever's being told here is internal, not external, right? When we say fire, it's this fire of self control. It's not like a real blazing fire. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Just to make sure you understand. And then these are all symbolic ideas, right? You know how we say like if we sometimes do like we do the puja, right? Then there's like manasya puja, like once what you do in like in your mind. Like there's like the external side of things and the internal. This part is all symbolic what we're talking about here. So then it's like jnana deepati. Deepite. It's like it is kindled by knowledge. So we're doing all of this knowingly, like deliberately, right? So like for example, no animals can do this, right? Because you can't like automatically like you can never do it. But you can do this deliberately, like knowingly once you have the knowledge. And that is why Sri Krishna is asking us to light up the fire of knowledge first and then sacrifice everything there. So um so in like this now in day and time, we not only need to do sacrifice outside, which a lot of people are fond of, like you know the yagnas and all that, of doing like outside rituals and so on. But the Gita, as Sri Krishna actually advises people to convert them into this inner sacrifice, like more of a symbolic and kind of um, manifesting the, you know, as Swamiji said, like divinity within us. Does that make sense? So you have to kind of understand that this is all symbolic. Are we good? Okay, guys, it's probably just me and Ashir just talking, and you guys are just sitting there. Um, okay. Dravya yajnastapo yajna yogo yajnastata pare swadhyaya yajna yajnascha yataya samsita vrata dravya yajnastapo yajna yogo yajnastata pare Swadhyaya yagna yagnascha yathaya samshita vrata dravya yagnastapo yagna yogo yagnastata pare swadhyaya yagna yagnascha yathaya samshita vrata.
Okay, so in this verse, likewise others, being of rigid vows and hard practice, offer their wealth, their austerities, their yogic practices, and their daily study of the Vedas as sacrifice. So, Dravya Yagna offers of their wealth as sacrifice. Samsita Vrata Yataya, being of rigid vows and hard practice. Tapo Yagna offers of austerity as sacrifice. Yoga Yagna offers of their yogic practices as sacrifice. Swadhyaya Jnana Yagnaha, and offers of daily study of the Vedas as knowledge sacrifice. So the verses that we previously talked about, like Adrita said, it's more about kind of having self-restraint and self-control. This fire is your self-control, and you're kind of controlling the senses that you have. But in this verse, it's kind of like the external kind of like practices. So having like rigid vows and hard patience and practice, they offer their wealth, their austerities, their yogic practices, and their daily study as sacrifice. So that's like all a part of their self control. So not only is it internal, it's also external as well.
Just to add on, you probably picked up on this by now, but like so far in this chapter, there are so many verses coming like of course before and also after that's like easing knowledge, right? This acquiring of knowledge. So like if we think about it, like knowledge is like a supreme wealth, right? That we develop. And Sri Krishna will explain much later in the upcoming verses. And I'm just reminded of how like Thakur used to say, in Bengali, of course. It's like, Jotadin bachi totadin shiki, right? And it's like, as long as we live, so long should we continue to study. So, so study and like studying and try to understand what we studied and trying to apply it is this idea of swadhyaya ya yagnas jnana yagnascha yathaya samstita vrata. So like Sravana, Manana, Nityasha, like learning, understanding, and then applying this whole part. Yes. Next one.
Yeah. Let's go to verse 29. अपाने जुवति प्राणं प्राणे पानं तथा परे प्राणापानगतिरुद्ध्वा प्राणायामपरायणः अपाने जुवति प्राणं प्राणे पानं तथा परे प्राणापानगतिरुद्ध्वा प्राणायामपरायणः अपाने जुह्वति प्राणं प्राणेपानं तथा परे प्राणपानगतिरुद्ध्वा प्राणायामपरायणः.
Okay, so it says, other devoted to the practice of pranayama regulate the movement of prana and apana and offer as oblation prana and apana and likewise apana and prana. This sounded like a tongue twister. But let's try to break this down. So let some offer as sacrifice the pranayama, right? Which is like the outgoing into the incoming breath, like this practice of breathing. And so some do it by like the outgoing into the incoming breath, and then the others offer the incoming into the outgoing, and then stopping the courses of incoming and outgoing breaths, and constantly practicing this like regulation of prana, which is the vital energy, right? This is what Sri Krishna is saying is one of the practices. So those who are experts in pranayama, like who actually know how to do it, they offer as sacrifice prana and apana and prana. So that's the outgoing versus the incoming. That whole thing I just said earlier. So sometimes, like, perhaps you don't need to go in this detail, but maybe you would like to know about this. So, like, let's say if you close one of your nostrils and take air in, right? That is called puraka, which is when you're filling up the lungs, right? And then you hold the breath in there for some time, and that is called kumbhaka, right? And then when you finally throw out the air through the other nostril, that is called rechaka, right? You may have heard this before sometimes, but yeah, but like these are some terms maybe you might hear here and there. So, but this whole idea is about the controlling the movement of prana and apana. Got it? Okay, awesome. Okay, last verse. Um,
Okay. So we'll do verse 30 then. अपरे नियताहारा प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति सर्वेप्येते यज्ञविदो यज्ञशापितकल्मषः. अपरे नियताहारा प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति सर्वेप्येते यज्ञविदो यज्ञशापितकल्मषः. अपरे नियताहारा प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति सर्वेप्येते यज्ञविदो यज्ञशापितकल्मषः. Okay, I'll explain it then. So some others who observe regulation of food make a sacrificial offering of the prana as the vital energy present in foodstuffs into the prana as the vital energy enlivening the body. All these know the true nature of sacrifice and have all evil in them washed away by yagna, sacrifice. Okay. So in the previous verse we talked about how a lot of individuals, they take to the practice of pranayama, which is like regulating the prana and apana, and they use that as like sacrifice. That's like their form of sacrifice. And here, another form of sacrifice is the regulation of food. So to kind of like control yourself on how much you consume, whether that be less or like the amount that is like in moderation. So people who observe the regulation of food, they make this offering, they make this kind of oblation that they're doing it for the betterment of their prana, to increase their vital energy, and it enlivens the body. And all of these people, they know that the true nature of sacrifice, because at the end of the day, they're sacrificing, they're trying to like establish that self-control with whatever they sacrifice, their external like understandings or their internal senses, the doing pranayama and then sacrificing food. They all know that the true nature of sacrifice is having the evil in them washed away through that sacrifice. Okay? Okay.
So this is something about the halal food. So is this something about the, sometimes we hear the halal food, right? That just the food gets sacrificed. Yeah. মা বলছেন নিবেদিত অন্ন। Hear me, right? Uh, you can hear me, right? And, oh, I see. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Yes?
Uncle, you're lagging and breaking up, so it's difficult to hear you.
Oh, okay. How about now? Same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can move myself. Hmm. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the close to the takur, then maybe, yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me better? All right. So I I have an announcement, just quick announcement. I think some of you already received it. In the morning, I sent you the message. I don't know how many have you checked it. So if you have some free time, especially those who are the students, uh, like a high school or middle school even, if you are interested, we could attend the session today. It's a special session in Ganesh Temple by Sarvapriyanandaji, meditation session. If you want to attend, then we can attend there. We can go there. 12:30 we can meet at the Ganesh Temple and we'll go to the hall. So let me know if you are interested. Orgo? Yeah,
Uncle?
yeah, don't force, okay? If you have the the schedule something commitment, so then you do not have to. Um, Yeah, let me know, uh, especially those who are Shagnik. Shagnik is Suparno is he's going. I know. Aditya also confirmed me. So those who then we can meet at like a 12:30 or 12:30ish at Ganesh Temple. Okay. Let me know and I will send you the flyer. Yeah. Okay. Everyone very quiet. Titli, are you okay? Good? Yes? Okay. Good to see you. Swastika is here. Okay. So which chapter you are discussing? Chapter 4, right? Which verses? Yeah.
We're doing 21 to 30 today.
So 30th, that was the last verse, right? Apare niyatahara.
Yes, for today, yes.
Okay. All right.
We're uncle
Oh,
kind of like going off the meaning from the books, but we're not sure if we're like really delving into like like the deeper meaning of the verses and so on.
no, that's fine. Yeah, I think you are doing great. Yeah, there is no, you cannot say deeper or shallower meaning. All right. Yeah, deeper meaning is something like understanding. Right. More you think about the verses, you will have the different meaning, basically. Okay. So it's depending on your. It's not the all about very important about the intellectual meaning. Is trying to understand. Yeah, because we have the different pranas, right? We have pran, apan, bhyan, saman, udan. Okay. So when you are giving the food, what do you say? Pranayo swaha, apanayo swaha, bhyanayo swaha. So we are basically, this is the, if one way, if you look at the materialistic way, this verse, basically it is the web chain, basically it was discussed. The web chain means the food chain. So one is sacrificed for the others. So there is no vegetarian or non-vegetarian things here. If you look at these words, every time we are one is sacrificed for others' growth, and that's how it is. Okay. So, like mother was very nicely explained to Master Moshoy one day. So he was thinking about to become vegetarian strictly, Master Moshoy. Okay, Master Moshoy means am. So mother read his mind. Okay, and the mother said, "Look at this, all these fishes in the pond in the mother's house, Jarambati. Look at all this. These fishes are for us to consume." Okay, so if you look at the some of the even the some of the species like the turtle and octopus. Look at these two species. You can Google it. The turtle and octopus, how they are saving their. If turtle is not were not there, the whole ocean will be full of what? Octopus, and it will be it would have been difficult to navigate with the octopus because they give the millions of birth. So each one is sacrificing on others. Yeah. So. And in this verse, actually, basically talking about your own body system, how you are feeding one to the others. Okay, the people who can channel the things directly take it to the prana, like Pauhari Baba. So they don't have to go through all these prana, 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 and all these things. They just take it and get to the prana. All right. So there is no digestive system will work for them. So there will be no waste. All right, because there is no reaction. It gets to the directly where it needs. It's needed. All right. So that's a lot of deeper things. I don't know. I think the people, some of the students will be, who is this Pauhari Baba? Eh? What are all these things? We can discuss it. But the way you are doing, great. Just stick to the translation that you have from Swami Tapasyanandaji's one. Okay, stick to that and try to understand the meaning of the word. Okay. Anyone has any question? Redita, Redita, are you there? Okay, so read the verse 30th. Oh, you just stop. Okay. All right. Turn on the microphone. Turn on microphone. Okay, I think she's having problem. Anyone else wants to come up with the for the verse 30th? No one? Maybe Ashuri and Aditya could ask.
I think Orko wants to go.
Orgo? Oh, Orgo is, yeah. He's our reserved army, right? Yeah. All right, go ahead, Orgo.
So do I do verse 30?
Yes.
Apare niyatahara pranan praneshu juhvati sarve pete yagna vido yagna shapita kalmasha.
Okay. So it's good. Everything pronunciation is good. Ashuri?
I think there was one word there, or maybe it was the lag. I don't know, but there was like it wasn't fully pronounced.
Which one?
Um, Sarve piete, like it should be a little smoother. So it'd be Sarve piete yagnavido.
Yagnavedo. Sarvashvita Kalmasha. Okay. Very good. Sarvapyati. Okay. And what do you do? So you finish up to 30th verse, 30 verse, right? From 21st to 30th. So what do you do now? Usually what they do? We have like an hour time, right? Close to 45 minutes.
We've been Uncle changing it up for the past few weeks. So like sometimes we do breakout sessions with slides, and sometimes they just want to do discussion questions or like you would call on people and they just recite the verses since we have done like 30 verses in the past 3 weeks.
Okay. So maybe what would be the more engaging? I don't see yeah, I see they are shy. They are all capable, I can see now. But they are all shy. So, so yeah, please come up if you have any question. These 10 verses, Probably, you know what? You can have 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Give them the 5 to 10 minutes time to read it out and then come up with some question, at least one question per student. How about that? Okay. So give them some time. So let's read. How about 10 minutes is not enough? Maybe 15 minutes? Yeah, 15 minutes, 10 verses. Read out carefully and find at least one question to ask. Okay? All right, guys? Yes. So then there will be two-way traffic. Right. Like Pratishthan said, yeah, yeah. So this is something the uh, everything yagna bhavana. That's the whatever you do, whatever you eat, everything you think about that, you are in the performing the yagna. Okay. When you eat something, make sure this energy you will receive will work for the people. It has to go for the yagna, whole yagna. It should be part of the yagna. That's the idea. Yeah. Okay. So 15 minutes. Maybe we'll
Should
yeah
we
you
put
can
them in breakout rooms?
breakout room so they can discuss with each other.
For
They
yeah,
ha- they have already group formed.
I can just put them into like 4 or 5 groups,
Yeah, that's not bad. So they
and
can discuss uh,
we can come back with the
with
question.
the questions,
Yeah.
but not on the slides,
No.
but individual. So everyone will be working as a group, but you have to. It's like you working as a group, but you are submitting your assignment separately. Okay, so you should have your own question. That's a good idea. It's a better idea. Yeah. So we'll okay. All right then. All right. So put them on the. All right. Oshani. Okay. Good. Yeah, we have 26 students so far. 20, 25, 25. No, 23. Yeah.